Today is Saturday, so we'll be reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, as is customary. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Thank you. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribhagavata, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribhagavata, Asasati Srila His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Amacharya Srila Prabhupada Korti, Prem Sekaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Radha, Shri 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 Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Devi Govardhan Yamuna Devi Nanda Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Sankirtan Yajna Ki Gaur Premanandi. All glories to some of the devotees, all glories to some of the devotees, all glories to some of the devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. We are reading from Madhya Lila, chapter 9, Lord Chaitanya's travels to the holy places. Maharaj, if when you give this class, do you like to read the Bengali or just the English? It's all right. I just like to read more, so I'll do English. Okay. So text 138. Before this explanation was given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Venkatabhatta thought that Sri Narayan was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thinking in this way, Venkatabhatta believed that worship of Narayan was the supreme form of worship, superior to all other processes of devotional service, for it was followed by the Sri Vaishnava disciples of Ramanujacharya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had understood this misconception of Venkatabhatta's, and to correct it, the Lord talked so much in a joking way. The Lord then concluded, "My dear Venkatabhatta, please do not continue doubting. Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this is the conclusion of the Vedic literatures. Lord Narayan, the opulent form of Krishna, attracts the minds of the goddess of fortune and her followers." And then quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 3, text 28, we call this the Parivatsa Sutra. How do you say Pari? And so this is Ete Kangsa Kala Pumsa Krishnas tu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. All these incarnations of Godhead are either plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions of the Purusha avatars. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. In every age, he protects the world through his different features when the world is disturbed by the enemies of Indra. So this is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28, Paribhasa Sutra. And so this verse, it's very interesting. So Lord Chaitanya is convincing Venkatabhatta. Now, it's very extraordinary. Like, we have so many ideas, and then when there's a revelation of truth that overrides what we previously thought, it's like very like, wow, awakening. So most of us were practicing some religious system before coming to Krishna consciousness, and we had one perception of God, and we worshipped him in a particular way. And then coming to Krishna consciousness, we're like, oh wow, this is really what God is like. We had a very limited perception before due to lack of knowledge. We didn't have the knowledge of the extraordinary features of the Supreme Lord, which we will hear about more as we go on in this chapter. But one thing very interesting here, like these are, it says the incarnations are either plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions. So it's not that they're any less. It's just like a light bulb. Like here we have many light bulbs in this room. They're being powered by some Duke Energy or electrical powerhouse. But it's not that they're not light, that they're fully electrical, fully light. So Krishna and his different manifestations, even if they're partial, they're still full. But it's just that, like sometimes like when we have Janmashtami festival, we have big floodlights, and so then that same power is going to power very great lights, or like at a stadium. So each one of those lights has the full potency, but not needed at particular times. Sometimes all we need is just one little light bulb if we're in our room, something like that. So, so for example, here Srila Prabhupada is explaining like of how, what kind of opulence was displayed by different incarnations of the Lord. So Lord Parshuram and Nrsimha displayed unusual opulence by killing the disobedient Kshatriyas 21 times, right, Lord Parshuram, and killing the greatly powerful atheist Hiranyakashipu, and who was so powerful even the demigods were very much afraid. Then the Lord's empowered, Jamadagya displayed the Lord's power also to kill disobedient kings. Then the Lord's empowered incarnation, Narada, and plenary incarnation, Varaha, as well as indirectly empowered Lord Buddha, created faith in the mass of people. The incarnations of Rama and Dhanvantari displayed his fame, and Balaram, Mohini, and Vamana exhibited his beauty. Dattatreya, Matsya, Kurma, and Kapila exhibited his transcendental knowledge. Nara and Narayan rishis exhibited his renunciation. So we see they all are exhibiting some of these different potencies of the Lord, but Krishna is the source of them all. Krishna is the fountainhead of all of these incarnations and of these 6 qualities that we just read: wealth, strength, fame, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. These different avatars, different incarnations, they exhibit to a certain extent some of those opulences. They may possess most of those opulences, but not all of them, as Sri Krishna does. Okay, text 144. Because Krishna has 4 extraordinary qualities not possessed by Lord Narayan, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, always desires his company. Lord Narayan has 60 transcendental qualities. Over and above these, Krishna has 4 extraordinary transcendental qualities absent in Lord Narayan. These 4 qualities are: 1, his wonderful pastimes, which are compared to an ocean; 2, his association in the circle of the supreme devotees in conjugal love, the gopis; 3, his playing on the flute, whose vibration attracts the 3 worlds; and 4, his extraordinary beauty, which surpasses the beauty of the 3 worlds. Lord Krishna's beauty is unequaled and unsurpassed. So although Lord Narayan is also extraordinarily beautiful, and he also has wonderful pastimes, but none can compare to Lord Krishna, and whose beauty also is unequaled and unsurpassed. Now you have recited the shloka beginning with Siddhantas Tvabhideya P, that very verse is evidence that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to transcendental realization, there is no difference between the forms of Krishna and Narayan, yet in Krishna there is a special transcendental attraction due to the conjugal mellow, and consequently he surpasses Narayan. This is the conclusion of transcendental mellows. This is a verse from the Bhakti purport. This is a verse from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.259. Here, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj says that Lord Chaitanya spoke the verse to Venkatabhatta, and earlier he said that Venkatabhatta spoke it to the Lord. But since their conversation took place long before the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu was composed, the question may be raised as to how either of them quoted the verse. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that this verse and many others like it were current among devotees long before the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu was composed. Thus devotees would always quote them and explain their purport in ecstasy. Very interesting. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, attracts the mind of the goddess of fortune, but Lord Narayan cannot attract the minds of the gopis. This proves the super excellence of Krishna. To say nothing of Lord Narayan personally, Lord Krishna himself appeared as Narayan just to play a joke on the gopis. Although Krishna assumed the 4-armed form of Narayan, he could not attract the serious attention of the gopis in ecstatic love. Once Lord Sri Krishna playfully manifested himself as Narayan with 4 victorious hands and a very beautiful form. When the gopis saw this exalted form, however, their ecstatic feelings were crippled. A learned scholar, therefore, cannot understand the gopis' ecstatic feelings, which are firmly fixed upon the original form of Lord Krishna as the son of Nanda Maharaj. The wonderful feelings of the gopis in ecstatic Paramarasa with Krishna constitute the greatest mystery in spiritual life. This is a verse spoken by Narada Muni in the Lalita Madhava Nataka, a drama, 614, a drama written by Srila Rupa Goswami. So it says, even if one's a great scholar, he can't understand. And just as we meet other religionists as well, they don't have this conception. And even we see Vaishnavas, even in South India, as he's speaking to Venkatabhatta, not having this understanding of the Lord, and the gopis understanding their conjugal relationship with the Lord, the gopis' ecstatic feelings. So it takes devotion. So in this way, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu deflated the pride of Venkata Bhatta. But just to make him happy again, he spoke as follows. That's very nice preaching tactic, that even deflating someone's pride, but not leaving them feeling like so depressed, like I'm reading the Feast cookbook. I don't cook, but there's many stories in there, and one devotee, Gopati, he was asked to cook for Prabhupada one day, and so he, Prabhupada had just come to purchase the Fisher Mansion, so he cooked, and after he cooked, Harikesh, who was Prabhupada's secretary at the time, he came because the sannyasis took all the remnants, and then he told them, that was incredible prasadam, you must be one of the best cooks in ISKCON. And he was so happy, and then he said, I'll ask Srila Prabhupada how he liked it. And so he asked Prabhupada, he said, I did not like it. And so, so when he told Gopati, he was so crestfallen, and just felt like this, like so deflated, because he was feeling so proud. And Harikesh said, just yesterday, the day before, I cooked for Prabhupada 2 days ago, and he told me it was terrible, and I'll come and help you cook. I'll teach you how to cook tomorrow. So the next day, Srila Prabhupada taught Harikesh how to cook with his 3-burner cooker. And so Prabhupada had to teach also Gopati, but Harikesh said, I'll teach you what Prabhupada taught me. And then I just heard Shruti Kirti, you may have heard this before, when he was fanning. He speaks a lot, very candidly, vulnerably, about how he was so proud of being Prabhupada's servant, and it was such a prestigious position to be Prabhupada's servant. And he was fanning. We know there were big crowds when Prabhupada spoke, and he's fanning Prabhupada. And this is in India, and the purpose of the chamara is not just to look good, it's to keep flies away. And Prabhupada had a fly right on his forehead. And Shruti Kirti said, I was oblivious that there was even a fly there. I was just thinking, everyone sees me, I'm Prabhupada's servant. And then Prabhupada said, can we get somebody with some intelligence up here? And so he said, this very eccentric, tall brahmachari from England came, and he just took the chamara right from my hand and got the fly off of Prabhupada and fanned, and he said, I just felt so humiliated, and like right in a second, 1/10,000th the size of the tip of a hair. And then following Prabhupada out, one devotee said, you really got the mercy today. And he was felt like so awful. So it's always mercy. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Prabhupada said he could chastise like anything. He was so good at it. But devotees relished that. They wanted to be chastised for development. So here, he's deflated. So Prabhupada too, we know he didn't keep anger like chastisement. He would chastise, and the next moment he would not be at all in an angry mood or anything. So it was for the upliftment of the devotees. So then the Lord pacified Venkata Bhatta and said, actually, whatever I have said is just by way of jest. Now you can hear from me the conclusion of Shastras, in which every Vaishnava devotee has firm faith. There is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Narayan, for they are the same form. Similarly, there is no difference between the gopis and the goddess of fortune, for they also are of the same form. The goddess of fortune enjoys the association of Krishna through the gopis. One should not differentiate between the forms of the Lord, for such a conception is offensive. There is no difference between the transcendental forms of the Lord. Different forms are manifested due to different attachments of different devotees. Actually, the Lord is one, but he appears in different forms just to satisfy the devotees. In the Brahma Samhita 533, it is stated, this is the purport, Advaitam Achutam Anadim Anantarupam Ajam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha. The Lord is Advaita, without differentiation. There is no difference between the forms of Krishna, Rama, Narayan, and Vishnu. All of them are one. Sometimes foolish people ask whether when we chant Rama in the Hare Krishna mantra we refer to Lord Ramachandra or Lord Balaram. If a devotee says that the name Rama in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra refers to Balaram, a foolish person may become angry because to him the name Rama refers to Lord Ramachandra. Actually, there is no difference between Balaram and Lord Ram. It does not matter whether one refers to Balaram or to Lord Ramachandra when chanting Hari Rama, for there is no difference between. Also, right, Radhika Raman. However, it is offensive to think that Balaram is superior to Lord Ramachandra or vice versa. Neophyte devotees do not understand the Shastric conclusion and consequently very unnecessarily create an offensive situation. In text 154, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu clarified this in a very lucid way. Ishvartve Vedamani le haya aparada. It is offensive for one to differentiate between the forms of the Lord. On the other hand, one should not think that the forms of the Lord are the same as the forms of the demigods. This is clearly offensive, as confirmed in Vaishnav Tantra. Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahma Rudra Didaivatai Samatvenaiva Viksheta Sapashadi Bhavedruvam. A Pashandi is one who considers the great demigods such as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan. From Hari Bhakti Vilas 7, 117. The conclusion is that we should neither differentiate between the forms of the Lord nor equate the forms of the Lord with the forms of demigods or human beings. For instance, sometimes foolish sannyasis, thinking the body of the Lord to be material, equate Dvarijya Narayan with Narayan, and this is certainly offensive. Unless one is instructed by a bona fide spiritual master, he cannot perfectly understand these different forms. Prabhupada very often writes about this Dvarijya Narayan, how bogus it is, thinking that the poor man, he is the same as Narayan. The Brahma Samhita confirms this. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhaktau. One cannot understand the differences between the forms of the Lord simply by academic study or by reading Vedic literature. One must learn from a realized devotee. Only then can one learn how to distinguish between one form of the Lord and another. The conclusion is that there is no difference between the forms of the Lord, but there is a difference between his forms and those of the demigods. So this is a very important point here. about learning. We can't just learn just by academic study or by reading Vedic literature. Like, one moment. Like in Vrindavan, Rasa Bihari Lal bookstore, they sell all kinds of books. And I was there once, and some hippie-looking man came in. He said, "I would like a copy of the Vedas." Okay, whatever. They have everything there. So, and I thought, how will he possibly understand the Vedas? Imagine if we were to read the Srimad Bhagavatam without Srila Prabhupada's purports. Like, how much we would be confused, how much, like just think about all of those different, paravyoma processes and different processes of yoga that are mentioned. Like, we would be so lost, like what to do and how to do. But Srila Prabhupada's purports makes everything so clear, and always prioritizes what's the most important things, the most important aspects of cultivating devotional service for the highest goal of life. And so this is also, one must learn from a realized devotee. And then we also have a living devotees who can give realization. They give realized knowledge. And we have and commentaries too. Like, of course, Srila Prabhupada's commentaries. They also, like just today, do you know how many verses were quoted? Like in Srila Prabhupada's purports, just the authoritative, the authoritative source of where the knowledge is coming from. So we're very grateful for this, so that we can distinguish and understand and discriminate. So now Mahaprabhu continues, quoting a verse from the Narada Pancharatra. When the jewel known as Vaidurya touches various other materials, it appears to be separated into different colors, and consequently its forms also appear different. Similarly, according to the meditational ecstasy of the devotee, the Lord, who is known as Achyuta, the infallible one, appears in different forms, although he is essentially one. Venkatabhatta then said, "I am an ordinary, fallen living entity, but you are Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. The transcendental pastimes of the Lord are unfathomable, and I do not know anything about them. Whatever you say, I accept as the truth." Purport: this is the way to understand the truth about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After hearing the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna said very much the same thing. Sarvam etad vitam maje yanmam vaidasi keshava nahite bhagavan vyaktim vidur deva nadanavaha. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. From Bhagavad Gita 10:14. It is not possible to understand the truth about the pastimes of the Lord simply by using our own logic, argument, and academic education. We must receive bona fide information from the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, just as Arjuna received information when Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. We have to accept the Bhagavad Gita or any other Vedic literature in good faith. These Vedic literatures are the only source of knowledge about the Lord. We must understand that we cannot comprehend the absolute truth by this speculative process, by trying to figure Him out on our own or figure out what is the absolute truth. there are so many ideas what the absolute truth is. I have been engaged in the service of Lakshmi Narayan, and it is due to their mercy that I have been able to see your lotus feet. Out of your causeless mercy, you have told me of the glories of Lord Krishna. No one can reach the end of the opulence, qualities, and forms of the Lord. So Venkata, it's not that he's totally dismissing his Ishtadevs, his worshipable deity, Lakshmi Narayan, but he's showing gratitude that it's by their mercy that I have met you and that I am hearing this truth and I am hearing the glories of Krishna. And many times devotees also say, like many of us came from Christian backgrounds and prayed to Jesus, please, Jesus, let me know you, let me see you, let me know what's right. And so then they're feeling gratitude. Or many worshippers of Lord Shiva in India, they pray to Lord Shiva to tell them what is the highest absolute truth, what's the best form of worship. And then they feel gratitude to their Lord, and that has directed them to higher levels of devotional service and higher levels of understanding and much more pleasing and ecstatic levels. So he's saying, I can now understand that devotional service unto Lord Krishna is the supreme form of worship. Out of your causeless mercy, you have made my life successful simply by explaining the facts. So again, this kind of awakening, it's like very much illuminating, and it's such a kind of relief to know what is the truth. We see there is no limit to Krishna consciousness. It is so very as deep as the ocean, and more there's depth, and then experience in rasa. When one experiences rasa, then also there's no limit to that unlimited qualities of the Lord and reciprocation with the Lord. So text 163, when the period of Chaturmasya was completed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took permission to leave from Venkatabhatta, and after visiting Sri Ranga, he proceeded further towards southern India. So we're also getting a tour of South India by following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on his tour. We're getting to hear all of these places. I know Bhira Krishna Swami took a tour to South India one time or more than one time? 2 times, yeah. Must have been very wonderful. I met you all at Jagannath Puri when you were on your way south, further south. I happened to be there at that time. So Venkatabhatta did not want to return home, but also wanted to go with the Lord. It was with great endeavor that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade him farewell. This is common occurrence that devotees, when they meet Lord Chaitanya, they don't want to go home. They want to go with him. But when Lord Chaitanya finally said, I really have to go and you stay here. So when he did so, Venkatabhatta fell down unconscious. Such are the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Sachi, at Sri Ranga Kshetra. When the Lord arrived at Rishabh Hill, he saw the temple of Lord Narayan and offered obeisances and various prayers. Purport, Rishabh Hill, Angada Malaya Parvat, is situated 12 miles north of Madurai city in the district of Madurai in southern Tamil Nadu. It is one of the mountains known as the Kutakachalas. Nearby Rishabh Hill is the forest where Lord Rishabhdev burned himself to ashes. Paramananda Puri had stayed at Rishabh Hill during the 4 months of the rainy season, and when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, he immediately went to see him. Upon meeting Paramananda Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered him all respects, touching his lotus feet, and Paramananda Puri embraced the Lord in ecstasy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed with Paramananda Puri in the Brahmana's house where he was residing. The two of them passed 3 days there discussing topics of Krishna. So we see how wonderful when we can be in the association of devotees whereby we can discuss topics of Krishna, because there are many topics of this world, unlimited, and so this is like the real, the real topics are topics of Krishna, which enlivens the soul. So Paramananda Puri informed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he was going to see Purushottama at Jagannath Puri. After seeing Lord Jagannath there, he would go to Bengal to bathe in the Ganges. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told him, "Please return to Jagannath Puri, for I will return there very soon from Rameshvara Setubanda. It is my desire to stay with you, and therefore, if you would return to Jagannath Puri, you would show great mercy to me." After talking in this way with Paramananda Puri, the Lord took his permission to leave and very pleased departed for southern India. Thus, Paramananda Puri started for Jagannath Puri, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began walking toward Sri Shaila. Purport: Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks, when Sri Shaila, which Sri Shaila is being indicated by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, is not clearly understood. There is no temple of Mallikarjuna in this area because the Sri Shaila located in the district of Dardwaj cannot possibly be there. That Sri Shaila is on the southern side of Balgam, and the Shiva temple of Mallikarjuna is located there. It is said that on that hill Lord Shiva lived with Devi. Also, Lord Brahma lived there with all the demigods. In Sri Shaila, Lord Shiva and his wife Durga lived in the dress of Brahmanas, and when they saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they became very pleased. Ulase, that's great pleasure. Lord Shiva, dressed like a Brahmana, gave alms to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and invited him to spend 3 days in a solitary place. Sitting there together, they talked very confidentially. After talking with Lord Shiva, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his permission to leave and went to Kamakoshti Puri. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at southern Mathura from Kamakoshti, he met a Brahmana. Purport: Southern Mathura, presently known as Madurai, is situated on the banks of the Bagai River. This place of pilgrimage is specifically meant for the devotees of Lord Shiva. Therefore, it is called Shaiva Kshetra. That is the place where Lord Shiva is worshipped. In this area, there are mountains and forests. There are also 2 Shiva temples, one known as Rameshvara and the other as Sundareshvara. There is also a temple to Devi called the Meenakshi Devi Temple, which displays very great architectural craftsmanship. It was built under the supervision of the kings of the Pandya dynasty, and when the Muslims attacked this temple, as well as the temple of Sundareshvara, great damage was done. In the Christian year 1372, a king named Kampana Udaryar reigned on the throne of Madurai. Long ago, Emperor Kurukshetra ruled this area, and during his reign he established a colony of Brahmanas. A well-known king named Anantaguna Pandya is an 11th generation descendant of Emperor Kulakshetra. I'll put the marker there. 179.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Maravindanalayatapsam Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Nandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Mutale Shimate Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Amande Namaste, Kadasutire, Gurmane Pacha, Nevesesha, Shunya Voti, Ashachade, Satarane. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Chidwaita Gadada Shiva Sari Gorakrinda Radha Shiva Sade Goloka Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityanando Advaita Radha Shiva Sade Goloka Brenda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityanando Advaita Radha Shiva Sade Goloka Brenda Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityanando Radha Shiva Sade Goloka Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityanando Advaita Radha Shiva Sade Goloka Brenda Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Goloka Brenda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Hare, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Goloka Nana Rana, Goloka Nana Prate. Jayot, Goloka Nana Rana, Goloka Nana Prate. Jayot, hey. Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jai Om Vishnupad.
Bhava Swadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smarata Rakala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjanina Nuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadishakamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twahi Vainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishameva Vambuda Kripayata Vapada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrashim Pachintaya Nayanam Kalarshu Daraya, Vadanam Gadgada Hridaya Gira, Pulakarnishitam Pupukada, Tabanamagrahane Bhavishyati, Yugayatam Namishena, Chakshusha Pravashayatam, Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahena Me, Aslishyava Padam Ritam Ranastumam, Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva, Yatatava Vidadatu Lampato, Matprananatastu Saeva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. And he says the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh, my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. They're not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, Lord, out of my way. You enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire for women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh, Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Hari Hari Bo. So there's Harinam today between 11:30 and 1, and it's right at Weaver Street Market in town. So if you are free then, please come and help benedict the souls coming to shop there at Weaver Street. Hari Bo.